So I'm back here again to read some more The Richest Man in Babylon. So the first chapter is called The Man Who Desired Gold. Banzar, the chariot builder of Babylon, was thoroughly discouraged. From his seat upon the low wall surrounding his property, he gazed sadly at his simple home and open workshop in which stood a partially completed chariot. His wife frequently appeared at the open door. Her furtive glances in his direction reminded him that the meal bag was almost empty and he should be at work finishing the chariot, hammering and hewing, polishing and painting, stretching out the leather over the wheel rims, preparing it for delivery so he could collect from his wealthy customer. Nevertheless, his fat, muscular body sat stolidly upon the wall. His slow mind was struggling patiently with a problem for which he could find no answer. The hot tropical sun, so typical of the valley of the Euphrates, beat down upon him mercilessly. Beads of perspiration formed upon his brow and trickled down unnoticed to lose themselves in the hairy jungle on his chest. Beyond his home towered the high terraced walls surrounding the king's palace. Nearby, cleaving the blue heavens, was the painted tower of the Temple of Bel. In the shadows of such grandeur was his simple home and many others far less neat and well cared for. Babylon was like this, a mixture of grandeur and squalor, of dazzling wealth and dearest poverty, crowded together without plan or system within the protecting walls of the city. Behind him, had he cared to turn and look, the noisy chariots of the rich jostled and crowded aside the sandaled tradesmen as well as the barefoot beggars. Even the rich were forced to turn into the gutters to clear the way for the long lines of slave water carriers on the king's business, each bearing a heavy goatskin of water to be poured upon the hanging gardens. Banzer was too engrossed in his own problem to hear or heed the confused hubbub of the busy city. It was the unexpected twanging of the strings from a familiar lyre that aroused him from his reverie. He turned and looked into the sensitive, smiling face of his best friend, Kabi, the musician. May the God bless thee with great liberality, my good friend, began Kabi with an elaborate salute. Yet it does appear they have already been so generous thou needest not labor. I rejoice with thee in the good fortune. More, I would even share it with thee. Pray from thy purse, which must be bulging, else thou would be busy in your shop. Extract but 2 humble shekels, and lend them to me until after the noblemen's feast this night. Thou wilt not miss them ere they are returned. If I did have 2 shekels, Banzer responded gloomingly, to no one I could lend them, not even to you, my best friends, for they would be my fortune, my entire fortune. No one lends his entire fortune, not even to his best friend. What? exclaimed Cobby with genuine surprise. Thou hast not 1 shekel in thy purse, yet sit like a statue upon a wall. Why not complete the chariot? How else canst thou provide for the noble appetite? 'Tis not like thee, my friend. Where is the endless energy? Does something distress thee? Have the gods brought to thee troubles? So, we're just sort of starting this story, this parable, to kind of tell a message in story form, and we kind of see how one of the characters is, sitting around, so to speak. He's not tending to his work, which would provide him income. And, in these days and ages, this day and age, we would, normally say, oh, that person's not motivated or they don't have a good work ethic. But from what we'll see in this story, usually the work day is a lot longer than most people are accustomed to. Most people are accustomed to a 40-hour work week, 5 8-hour days or whatever. And in this particular story, it sounds like at least some laborers are working from sunrise to sunset, so potentially a lot more than 8 hours. A torment from the gods it must be, Banzer agreed. It began with a dream, a senseless dream, in which I thought I was a man of means. From my belt hung a handsome purse, heavy with coins. There were shekels which I cast with careless freedom to the beggars. There were pieces of silver which I did buy finery for my wife and whatever I did desire for myself. There were pieces of gold which made me feel assured of my future and unafraid to spend the silver. A glorious feeling of contentment was within me. You would not have known me for thy hard-working friend, nor wouldst have known my wife, so free from wrinkles was her face and shining with happiness. She was again the smiling maiden of our early married days. A pleasant dream indeed, commented Copy, but why should such pleasant feelings as it aroused turn thee into a glum statue upon the wall? Why indeed? Because when I awoke and remembered how empty was my purse, a feeling of rebellion swept over me. Let us talk it over together, for as the sailors do say, we ride in the same boat, we two. As youngsters, we went together to the priest to learn wisdom. As young men, we shared each other's pleasures. As grown men, we have always been close friends. We have been content subjects of our kind. We have been satisfied to work long hours and spend our earnings freely. We have earned much coin in the years that have passed, yet to know the joys that come from wealth, we must dream about them. Bah! Are we more than dumb sheep? We live in the richest city in all the world. The travelers do say none equals it in wealth. About us is much display of wealth, but of it ourselves have not. After half a lifetime of hard labor, thou, my best of friends, hast an empty purse and says to me, "May I borrow such a trifle as 2 shekels until after the nobleman's feast this night?" Then what do I reply? Do I say, "Here is my purse, its contents will I gladly share"? No, I admit that my purse is as empty as thine. What is the matter? Why cannot we acquire silver and gold, more than enough for food and robes? So, as we continue through the story, we see that, the two characters here having the dialogue spend their money freely, so, they might be earning, a decent living, but whatever money they're making is getting spent just as quickly as they're getting it. So they, don't have any extra money. They might be able to provide food and shelter, but then, they buy other things freely. Consider also our sons, Banzer continued. Are they not following in the footsteps of their fathers? Need they and their families and their sons' family live all their lives in the midst of such treasures of gold, and yet, like us, be content to banquet upon sour goat's milk and porridge? Never in all the years of our friendship didst thou talk like this before, Banzer. Kobe was puzzled. Never in all those years did I think this before. From early dawn until darkness stopped me, I have labored to build the finest chariots any man can make, soft-heartedly hoping someday the gods would recognize my worthy deeds and bestow upon me great prosperity. This they have never done. At least I realize this they will never do. Therefore, my heart is sad. I wish to be a man of means. I wish to own land and cattle, to have fine robes and coins in my purse. I am willing to work for these things with all my strength on my back, with all the skills in my hands, with all the cunning in my mind, but I wish my labor to be fairly rewarded. What is the matter with us? Again, I ask you, why cannot we have our just share of the good things so plentiful for those who have the gold with which to buy them? So, they're willing to put in hard work, but aren't seeing the results they would like to. And you kind of see some wishful thinking here, like, oh, I wish the gods would bestow these things on me. But in reality, we have to work for what we want and put in effort, not only by working hard, but working smart. And when we do get money, we have to, spend wisely and, not overspend, So I'll come back to chapter 1 later today. I'll make another video, and hopefully you've found this of some value so far.